Just
Hello, everyone. So, as I had mentioned to you guys, I'll be interviewing a literacy expert. This is Dr. Ali Safivand. He teaches at the University of Rochester in New York. And like I said, I'm going to let him introduce himself to you guys, and then I'll introduce myself. So, Dr. Safivand, go ahead.
thank you so much for the opportunity to meet with you today. My name is Ali Saifiman, and I hold a PhD in education with a specialization in curriculum and instruction from the University of Rochester, as well as a master's degree in TESOL. For more than a decade, I have worked in higher education as a lecturer, academic success coach, writing consultant, and student support professional. Throughout my career, I have taught and mentored a diverse population of students, including first generation college students, multilingual learners, underrepresented students, international students, and students from a wide range of academic and cultural backgrounds. What has always motivated me is helping students successfully navigate the transition to college and develop the confidence, skills, and sense of belonging necessary to thrive both academically and personally. In my work at the University of Rochester, I have supported students through classroom instruction, academic coaching, workshops, and one-on-one mentoring focused on study strategies, academic communication, critical thinking, goal setting, personal development, and other related, I can say, areas that students really needed support. Um, my teaching philosophy centers on creating inclusive, student-centered learning environments where students feel supported, challenged, and empowered to take ownership of their learning. I believe that first-year seminars play a critical role in helping students build connections, develop self-efficacy, and establish the habits of lifelong learners. What I mean by first year seminars, I'm talking about the students who enter the university because I had a lot of students who were meeting with me the first year as first year students who really lack social capital and they wanted to know how to navigate and also be successful throughout their programs and also successfully, just, take the exams. So, and thank you so much again for helping me meet with you and also the questions actually.
Thank you for accepting the offer and thank you for being on here and sharing with my audience, your area of expertise and confirming all the research that, you and I have done. I actually met Dr. Safivan at the New York TESOL conference that I presented at, and it was a great conference. It was right before COVID hit,
Yeah,
and it was wild, but it was a great conference. Thank you very much for that introduction.
you're
That was
welcome.
very nice and very detailed. And I am Dr. Hasso. I am a high school English teacher. I am a public speaker. I am a published author, and I do a lot of this work with my books. And I am currently, hopefully, getting a paper published with Taylor and Francis about the work and the research. So it's still going through the process. And I'm really excited to have Dr. Safi on. So
Thank
we'll,
you.
we'll go ahead and start. You're welcome. We'll go ahead and start with the first question. Tell us about your path into TESOL. What drew you to this work and what keeps you in it? The teachers of English of second language learners. Like what's your
Yeah. Well, I just try to be brief. So I believe my path into TESOL began with my own experience as a multilingual speaker and language learner. Um, Early in my career, I became fascinated not only by how people learn languages, but also by how language shapes identity, opportunity, and belonging. Um, as I work with English language learners in different educational contexts, from language institutes to higher education and community-based systems or programs, I realized that TESOL is about much more than teaching grammar or vocabulary or language. It is about helping students access education, participate fully in society, or I can say academic context or environment, and achieve goals that may have once seemed out of reach. What keeps me in this work is the transformative impact we can have on a student's lives. Every year, I see learners gain confidence, find their voices, and begin to see themselves as capable scholars and professionals. That process never stops inspiring me.
Excellent. Yeah, I find that, my work is, my parents are immigrants and I was raised in a fairly immigrant, household, Americanized. And, you know, I've just been so curious about, how to help immigrant students because of my parents, how to help them succeed. I was able to get myself, help myself grow and succeed through, working hard, my teachers, and struggling. And I don't want to see students going through that. So thank you for that
Oh, you're
response.
welcome. You're welcome.
Uh, was there a student or classroom moment that really crystallized why this work matters?
Well, I don't want to say a lot, but there were students who were really burned out with the grammar transition method at school. My English was really good because I started learning English when I was really young. I was around 11 to 12 years old. I was really motivated to learn English, and my English was really good at school, especially at high school. So I was just helping these students change their mindset about learning English because uh, they had um, they had no connection with the new language as an English as a foreign language in that context. Therefore, it was the starting point for me, thinking that English is not just the language that you just learn and go and get a grade. It's really a new mindset, a new perspective towards the world. And I remember also working with a student who had recently arrived in the United States. I mean, that's related to my experience here. And he was really hesitant to speak in class. Not just my class, I mean, all classes usually, seemingly. He was taking other classes, but other professors. During the first week, I can say he started to, I can say, show that he was a little bit um, unsure where he was or why he wanted to learn English. But again, I started to work with him. I tried to meet with him one on one after class. Sometimes I used to call him and say, hey, why don't you come over? You know, um, are you, for example, um, familiar with, for example, this assignment and all the stuff that we were doing in the class? After a few weeks, um, he started. I mean, I'm using he, but it doesn't mean that necessarily he was he. Okay, so I'm trying to make it anonymous because he might listen to this. I can
Yeah,
say interview later.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
right.
names. We don't
So
need
yeah,
names. No, no
exactly. So
names. Yeah.
he off and on started to participate in class discussions, which was a great success for me. And he tried to get rid of his, fear of using the new language, using and applying everything he's learning in the class to communicate with his classmates. Over time, through collaborative activities, group activities, and a supportive class environment, that student gradually became more engaged, which was a great success. And when I say engaged, I can provide some examples and some evidence. So my evidence for his engagement in the class, based on my observation, was the questions he was asking. Sometimes he was explaining something to his classmates, which was something great. I said, wow, this is great, way of getting into classroom conversation discussion. And by the end of the semester, I can say he was leading discussions and presenting confidently in front of his peers. So what stayed with me was not simply the improvement in English proficiency, it was a shift in confidence and self-perception. So he was improving his English. That's what was happening. At the same time, he was trying to develop some confidence in the new language, setting, and environment. That experience reinforced me that language education is ultimately about empowerment. When the students gain the tools to express themselves, um, entire possibilities open up.
That's great. Yeah. So like the peer group, the peer-to-peer stuff is always helpful for English learners.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of research about that they learn from their friends, they learn from, the group, the teachers, and it helps them sort of develop their English skills and it develops their confidence because they're becoming more social. Same thing happened with me. I had one kid that was very shy. She didn't know any English, nothing. She was just sitting there quietly. As soon as she got with a buddy that did speak English, that person taught her, to sort of assimilate, and she became like this popular kid on campus. And I think that's
Yeah.
great. So yeah, you're absolutely right. So we're going to go ahead and zoom out to the national picture. So zooming out to the national picture, how would you describe the state of English language education across the country right now? And where are we making progress and where are we falling short, if we are?
Uh, yeah, that's also a good question. So, if I want to just start talking about, the national picture, um, and how the state of English language education across the country um, can be described, I can say. I believe nationally there are both encouraging progresses and significant challenges. We're making progress in recognizing multilingualism as an asset rather than a deficit. More districts are embracing bilingual education, translanguaging practices, and culturally responsive teaching. And what this is something that I really observed when I started helping K-12 teachers, my colleagues at schools as a sub teacher, and I can say it was miraculous. Their work is miraculous, I can say. They're helping the students. They're creating very engaging context, and also they're very open to receive support. I mean, I'm talking about teachers, and these teachers are both English language teachers and also world language teachers. There are many teachers who are teaching, Spanish language, French language. They're great. They're perfect, and they're adding a lot to the students, I can say, learning context and environment. Uh, there's a great awareness that the students' home languages are sources for learning nowadays. However, we still fall short in several areas. I mean, that's usually um, the case. I mean, about education, because no education is 100% perfect. I believe many schools face shortages of qualified TESOL educators, uneven access to services, and limited professional development for mainstream teachers who work with multilingual learners. Additionally, multilingual learners continue to be evaluated through systems that sometimes prioritize standardized measurements over holistic development that we usually talk about. And sometimes quantitative, measurements um, are, I can say, prioritized instead of, qualitative measurements. Um, and I believe, as a person who have done research on motivation and self-determination theory, I believe that students' well-being is very important in the learning context, no matter what grade he or she is receiving. Uh, the challenge moving forward is ensuring that I think our policies and resources match the rhetoric of equity and inclusion. Therefore, based on whatever that you hear around, schools, states, I think the idea of implementing equitable education and inclusive education as what we need to make sure that is embedded in our curriculum and in our syllabi.
Perfect. Thank you. We'll skip to number 6. So are there states doing things particularly well for ELL and multilingual learners, students that New York could learn from?
Well, that's a very, it's a very,
Well,
I can say, big question. And
just talk
my,
about like the class, like
yeah,
the
yeah,
classroom.
yeah, my information is coming from um, my observation in international and national conferences. I have had a lot of discussions with my colleagues throughout the United States, or at least, many states around this nation. So I believe the states such as California, Illinois, Washington, New York have implemented strong multilingual education initiatives that emphasize bilingualism and biliteracy. I know California's investment in dual language programs and the seal of biliteracy demonstrates a commitment to multilingualism as an education asset. Illinois has developed robust support structures for multilingual learners and their families. Uh, New York is still, improving the situation. New York is already a national leader in many respects. There's always room to learn from innovative approaches that strengthen access to bilingual education and community partnerships. I don't know if
Yeah, yeah.
I could answer everything, but I try to make it
No,
concise. And yeah, okay, right.
that's perfect. No, I mean, I think the community is definitely, something that, even in California, in my school district, we're starting to bring in, I think, it's hard sometimes 'cause people work, 24/7 and trying to get them to meetings and stuff is hard. But we
Mm,
are, our district and a lot of California districts are making that concerted effort to get that done.
mm.
And to get the parents involved in their students' lives. So New York specifically, New York has one of the most linguistically diverse student populations in the country. How does that shape the work and responsibility of New York State TESOL?
Um, I think, can you repeat your question again? Sorry.
Yeah, it's question 7. No, it's okay. So how does New York being so linguistically diverse, how does
Hmm.
TESOL in New York shape all of that? How do they to help the linguistically diverse population?
Oh, okay. So, first of all, I can say the diversity we're talking about in New York is both an opportunity and I can say a responsibility or commitment. I mean, whichever you like better, or maybe both, right? Okay, so I think New York State TESOL supports educators, educators who are working with the students who speak hundreds of languages, who come from an extraordinary range of cultural, educational, and migration experiences. When we say migration, we're talking about also refugees and all people who were forced to leave their own homeland. This means professional development cannot be one size fits all. It requires, I believe, ongoing attention to equity, inclusion, cultural responsiveness, and differentiated support. New York City Soul has an important responsibility and commitment to amplify educator voices and advocate for policies that reflect the realities of this diversity. And I believe all teachers, all educators in New York State should find or see New York State TESOL as their own community, their own professional community, where they can share their ideas, they can, I can say, um, feel they have voice. Do you see what I mean? That's really important. I don't know if I could answer your question, but I did my
No,
best.
that's perfect. That's perfect. So we're going to skip to number 11 for the sake of time, because I know,
Sure.
you're strapped on time.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
so we'll go to number 11. How do you honor a student's home language and identity while still meeting the demands of standards and accountability systems?
Uh, okay, so I mean, this is a good
So
question.
like translating assessments and
Right, right,
translating assignments and
right.
tests. How do the teachers sort of
Yeah,
understand that?
I think I myself personally, I don't view these goals as competing priorities. I believe that affirming students' home languages and also um, I can say flourishing their identities can strengthen their learning environment and their success. Students learn more effectively when they feel respected, valued, and connected to instruction. Um, Practically, I mean, I also had a presentation during NICESOL 2024 on translanguaging and also running specific events that can help individuals coming from different backgrounds share a lot from their own, I can say, culture and life experience. So practically, that may involve translanguaging strategies, multilingual resources, family engagement, culturally relevant texts, and opportunities for students to draw on prior knowledge. Standards and accountability matter, we know that, but they should be pursued through approaches that build on the students' strength rather than ignore them. That's what I
So
can say.
no, that's perfect. So for the sake of our audience, translanguaging is when you're using the student's home language to teach them the English language and vice versa in a nutshell.
It's
So
deeper than
you're
that. It's way
uh,
deeper than that.
right. And do you
Yeah.
want to explain a little bit more, just to give our audience a little bit more depth?
So one of the topics that I was presenting and I had worked in my class was that, for example, there are words that they have some equivalent, words in other languages. For example, the only example that I can give you is that I remember that I shared the idea of so-so. We say so-so in English, but in Chinese language, they say mama ho-ho. So mama ho ho in Chinese means, horse, horse, tiger, tiger. So, and I was asking the students, let everyone know why they say mama ho ho if you know. And if you don't know, you can just do a research and present it to the class for 20 seconds. Let us know why. I mean, what's the history behind it? You see what I mean? So it's not just the word equivalent, I can say words or anything that we think that we just translanguaging. It's also the culture behind it, where it's coming from, and in most cases, there are some beautiful and nice and um, I can say very useful stories behind these, translanguaging ideas. Doesn't make sense. So we should not just focus on the surface meaning or look at it in a shallow manner. We have to think about the deep structure, the deep meaning of the words that they're using, and sometimes they feel really appreciated when they feel that they're valued, their culture is valued, and all kinds of stuff like that. That was one
Perfect.
example. There were many other examples that the teachers during my session when I was presenting during NISTSO conference, they were bringing to the session, and there was a very nice discussion happening during that session, and I really like that. So that's why I say, it's a lot of professional development is happening during the conferences, especially New York State TESOL for New York State, teachers and educators.
Yeah, it's something we need to continue to encourage our English learners. We're going to move on to a couple more questions because I know we're running out of time here.
Sure.
So how about AI and new technology tools for our multilingual learners? Do you think they can benefit our students? Is there a risk? Both?
Well, I think I always put it this way, that we always know that education means a new challenge to everyone who is working and, I can say, teaching in the system, and also the people who attend to learn something. Because if there's no challenge, we don't just get out of our comfort zone. So AI is adding to this challenge, and also at some point is supporting some challenges students might have. Uh, but I can say AI is a little bit shifting the learning process and also maybe teaching process for the teachers. um, Not necessarily worse or better, but it's a shift and it's a new challenge for everyone, every educator, everyone who is learning or is was attending the learning context. And I remember that there was an interview that I gave an example related to internet. You remember that when internet was in years ago, when students started to get access to internet, so things were very different. You see what I mean?
Mhm.
People were Googling, people were searching, and then we had the mobile phones coming in. So AI is also related to these kind of changes that, or innovations, I can say, that hopefully with, I can say, our educators' expertise, our teachers' expertise and experience, AI can be, I can say, hired by them to help the situation, and also help the students to learn better, and even sometimes I can say faster,
Oh
while
yeah.
while improving the access to information, and also more engagement. I can say more learners' engagement in the learning context.
Yeah, I just barely we have 5 minutes left, but I just wanted to say I allow my students to use the translation tool in the
Mhm.
computer for anything. They can just
Yeah,
click on it and it translates everything.
yeah.
Uh, and our curriculum translates everything too as well.
Yeah, so we
So,
have to leave it to the teachers, as you said. I mean, you're an expert, so you knew how to engage the students to use AI properly, and I think, yeah, most of our colleagues have this expertise to have, I can say, correct decision.
yes, it's great. So with 5 minutes left, we're going to leave with two closing questions. If everyone in this room did one thing differently on Monday morning or when the fall comes, what would you want that to be? And where can people connect with you or get involved with New York State TESOL?
Yeah, so I would encourage everyone to begin the day by intentionally identifying and building up on a student's strength. Too often, educational conversations focus on what students lack. Instead, let's start with what the students already know. We have, for example, KWL, usually what we know, what we want to know, and at the end of the semester, we say what we learned, okay? What languages they speak, sometimes I ask them, what experiences they bring or they want to bring, and what assets they contribute. Um, when we lead with strength, as I mentioned earlier, we create learning environments where students can thrive, in my opinion, and they always feel the sense of agency and autonomy in the context.
And thank you for that. And where can people connect with you to get involved?
Um, yeah, so I think I encourage everyone to become active in New York State TESOL through conferences, regional affiliates, professional development opportunities, advocacy initiatives, and uh, special interest groups. Some individuals try to get connected with me through LinkedIn, and then through LinkedIn, we share also links for conferences. There are many other conferences that are coming up. I mean, New York State TESOL that is happening this year. It's going to be in Long Island, which is going to be, I mean, I attended once when it was happening. I think it's in 2018 or 17. I'm not sure about the date right now. but I can
That's
say
the
it
one
was
that
one
I
of my,
met you. I met you there.
yeah. So it was one of my best, I can say, experiences. Like, and I'm sure this is going to be one of the best based on the information I'm receiving about what is really happening. They're really working hard and actively together, especially the leaders. So yeah, that's one of the things that I could share about, how people can get connected to me.
Well, we're at the end here.
Yeah,
That was a great conversation.
thank you so much.
And I appreciate you coming on here and, if you're, I definitely don't like to bother people, but yeah, anytime you want to talk about this, we can get into translanguaging deeper or get into all these
Absolutely.
different topics deeper. But thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you so
Safian.
much. I appreciate it.
Have a wonderful, happy Father's Day. Enjoy the FIFA,
Yeah.
go, may the best
Uh,
country win.
yeah.
But yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. I
Have a
appreciate it.
great
Thank you so
day.
much for your time, and thank you for being so creative about engaging individuals in this conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Have a
Yeah.
great
Have a good
day.
day. You too. Have a great day. Bye.